8 situations where walking away is the best move you can make, according to psychology. In life, we are often taught that success is about pushing forward, fighting through obstacles, standing our ground, and always striving to be better. But what if we told you that walking away can sometimes be the most powerful decision you can make? According to psychology, knowing when to walk away from a situation is an important skill that can preserve your emotional well-being, improve your decision-making, and help you build healthier relationships. Let's explore 8 situations where walking away isn't a sign of defeat, but rather a conscious act of self-care and strength. 1. When you're in a toxic relationships are not always obvious at first. They start with subtle manipulations, hurtful remarks, or small betrayals that seem easy to overlook. Over time, however, these behaviors can accumulate, chipping away at your self-esteem, happiness, and emotional stability. According to psychologists, toxic relationships often involve patterns of control, gaslighting, or emotional abuse. These relationships leave you feeling drained, confused, or unloved, and they can have lasting effects on your mental health. Why walking away is the right move? Walking away from a toxic relationship is not an act of cowardice, it's an act of self-respect. Psychology teaches us that our relationships shape our self-worth, and staying in a toxic relationship can gradually erode your sense of identity. By stepping away, you reclaim your peace and protect your emotional health. It's an acknowledgement that you deserve respect, love, and kindness. Insight. Walking away from toxicity makes space for healthier, more fulfilling relationships to enter your life. It also gives you the opportunity to reconnect with your true self. 2. When you're exhausted and burned out. Burnout is often a silent killer of creativity, productivity, and overall well-being. In our fast-paced world, many of us push ourselves to the brink of exhaustion in order to meet work deadlines, care for others, or fulfill personal expectations. However, research in psychology indicates that chronic stress and fatigue can lead to long-term health issues, including anxiety, depression, and even physical illness. Why walking away is the right move. If you've reached a point where you're mentally and physically exhausted, walking away from a situation can be the most proactive step to take. In these moments, it's not about avoiding responsibility, but rather taking the time to recharge and restore balance in your life. Allowing yourself a break from the demands of work, family, or other obligations is a necessary part of maintaining long-term productivity and happiness. Insight. By taking a step back when overwhelmed, you're giving yourself the chance to rejuvenate, which ultimately leads to greater focus, creativity, and the ability to handle challenges in the future. 3. When negotiations turn unproductive. Negotiations, whether personal or professional, are often aimed at finding a mutual agreement or solution. However, there are times when negotiations devolve into power struggles, blame games, or personal attacks. When you sense that the conversation is no longer constructive, continuing to push for a resolution can feel frustrating and exhausting. Psychologists suggest that walking away from unproductive negotiations can be a strategic move. Why walking away is the right move. If you find yourself at a standstill in a negotiation, it may be more beneficial to take a break and reassess the situation. Walking away allows you to return with a clearer mind and potentially a fresh perspective. Additionally, removing yourself from a fruitless conversation can send a clear signal that you're not willing to waste your time on something that no longer serves your interests. Insight. Sometimes, stepping away from negotiations is not about giving up, but rather about protecting your energy and ensuring that when you do re-engage, you're doing so with clarity and purpose. 4. When you're being manipulated. Emotional manipulation is often difficult to recognize until it's too late. Whether it's gaslighting, guilt-tripping, or subtle forms of control, manipulators are skilled at making others feel responsible for their actions or emotions. If you find yourself in a relationship or situation where you are consistently being manipulated, psychologists recommend walking away. This allows you to break free from the cycle of manipulation and regain control over your own emotions. Why walking away is the right move. Walking away from manipulation is a vital form of self-preservation. By doing so, you protect your emotional health and avoid being drawn into a web of deceit. Walking away sends a powerful message. You will not tolerate being controlled or used, and you will prioritize your well-being above all else. Insight. Leaving a manipulative situation allows you to rebuild your confidence, assert your boundaries, and make choices that align with your true desires and needs. 5. When you're triggered and need time to cool down. When emotions run high, whether in an argument or a stressful situation, it's easy to say things we don't mean or act impulsively. According to psychologists, when we are triggered by strong emotions, whether anger, frustration, or fear, It's often better to step away before responding. Taking time to cool down can help you avoid saying or doing something you'll regret later, while walking away is the right move. Walking away in a moment of emotional intensity allows you to regain control over your emotions and reactions. This pause provides an opportunity for reflection, enabling you to approach the situation with clarity and a level head. It's a form of emotional intelligence to recognize when you need space in order to respond more thoughtfully. Insight: by walking away temporarily, you create the emotional distance necessary for productive communication and problem solving. It helps preserve relationships and prevents unnecessary conflict. 6. When you're repeating the same argument, it's all too easy to fall into a pattern of repetitive arguments, especially with those we are closest to. These arguments often center on the same issues, with no resolution in sight. Psychology reveals that when communication breaks down and both parties are simply circling around the same points, continuing the discussion may only fuel frustration and resentment. Why walking away is the right move? In these cases, walking away from the argument can break the cycle of escalation. Giving both sides space to reflect on the issues separately often leads to more constructive conversations later on. It also prevents further emotional damage and helps restore mutual respect in the relationship. Insight: walking away from a heated argument is not about avoiding the issue. It's about giving both parties time to process their emotions and think more critically about the situation before re-engaging. 7. When your values are being compromised. Our values are the foundation of our actions and decisions. When we find ourselves in situations where those values are being compromised, whether in the workplace, in personal relationships, or in social settings, it can lead to feelings of guilt, anxiety, and inner conflict. Psychologists advise that when your core beliefs are at risk, walking away is often the healthiest choice. Why walking away is the right move. Walking away from situations where your values are being compromised allows you to maintain your integrity. It's an act of self-respect, signaling that you will not sacrifice your principles, even if it means facing temporary discomfort or challenges. Insight: staying true to your values creates inner peace and reinforces your sense of self-worth. Walking away from situations that challenge your ethics will strengthen your confidence in the long term. 8. When you've outgrown the situation. Life is all about growth and evolution. As we mature and evolve, our goals, desires, and priorities change. This includes outgrowing situations, relationships, or environments that once served us but no longer align with our current path. Psychologists suggest that recognizing when we've outgrown something is a sign of self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Why walking away is the right move. When you've outgrown a situation, continuing to stay in it can limit your growth and potential. Walking away frees you to pursue new opportunities, meet new people, and experience new things that better align with who you are becoming. Insight: walking away from something you've outgrown is not a loss. It's an opportunity to create space for new experiences that resonate with your current values, desires, and goals. Conclusion: walking away is an act of strength and self-care. In many situations, walking away is not a defeat, but a decision that reflects strength, self-awareness, and emotional maturity. It is an empowering choice that allows you to protect your mental and emotional health, set boundaries, and prioritize what truly matters in your life. Whether you're leaving behind toxic relationships, stepping back from overwhelming responsibilities, or creating space for personal growth, walking away is a powerful act of self-care. Embrace the wisdom that sometimes the best move you can make is to walk away, because in doing so, you're choosing to honor yourself, your values, and your future.